Hello, hello, hello. Okay, today we're going to continue to work on my foot pain that I acquired when walking. So my pain is not so specific. No movement particularly causes it. I feel pain when I flex the foot over. Here I feel pain, and the pain comes around the base of the fifth metatarsal and into the base of the heel. Okay, there's a few things that it could be, but I'm not going to get into the specifics. I'm just going to try to work on it and show you how I do that. Okay, so first I'm going to start by working out the foot a little bit and getting it warmed up. So I'm just going to kind of chill out here and do a bunch of foot exercises to get it going. Okay. So I like to use this cross-leg position because then I can work against gravity with the muscles on the inside of the leg. Just like later I'll lay on my side and be able to use gravity the other way. But for now, let's just get a bunch of easy circles in, and hopefully this pain will start to clear out. So I notice when I crunch the toes this way, I have some pain activated here. So maybe it's some kind of tendonitis with the toe flexors. The ankle's moving a lot better after yesterday's treatment, but it got pretty painful at night. So we're going to just roll through warming up the ankle. And today's session would be appropriate if you were dealing with like plantar fasciitis or something like that. The treatment will be largely the same. Okay. And lots of toe movement. Now, one of the strategies I use when I'm working on acute problems like this, right? I have this injury to the foot. It's only a day or two old at this point. So instead of working out my whole body, I'm going to really try to focus all the resources in my body into that one area. So rather than doing a ton of loosening and stretching and shaking that my body has to then repair later, I just want to put all my resources into my foot for the next day and see if I can get over this as quickly as possible. Okay, you can always split the time between both feet doing the same exercises, but I'm going to stay, again, working with my injured foot here. Really working with the toes, trying to get a nice different movements, variety of movements, wiggling the toes and separating the big foot toe, waving the toes, gripping the toes, flexing, gripping, flexing. I'm getting the whole ankle. Ooh, here, when I flex up, I also get some crunchy pain here on the outside of the ankle. So I'll address that later too. Oh, good, starting to crack a little bit. Okay, moving back to circles. Already my foot's getting pretty tired even from this. So I know something's up. Okay. One of my all-time favorite exercises for the plantar fascia and bottom of the foot is there's actually a muscle that runs like this from the heel to the midfoot, and is very hard to target this muscle. But the best exercise I found is the strange coordination where you flex the toes but pull the foot up, and then I guess this way is flex, and push down like you're pushing through the ball of the foot. Then you curl the toes and lift up, flex the toes, push down. Okay. I'm just going to try to wave through that smoothly as possible. Starting to get some cracking in the foot. That's good. Oh. Right? It shouldn't feel tense or painful at all when you do this movement with a healthy foot. So if you feel like something kind of uncomfortable under the foot when you grip the toes like that, you're definitely dealing with some kind of tension in the feet that need to be worked out. Okay, going back to basic circles here. Good, my muscles are already getting pretty tired, so I'm going to switch to some manual techniques here. Okay, I'm just gonna look around for this pinky toe bone here, right, that comes along here. And I'm just gonna try to move that around a little bit. Look for sensitive spots under the foot, because you really wanna treat where the pain is, right? If I don't find pain here, I'm in the wrong spot. And to be honest, even though I feel my pain here when I step on it, I don't feel so much right now when I press here. Even digging pretty deep is not so bad. So I'm gonna try with the tennis ball to step on the tennis ball and see if this makes some more pain for myself. Yeah, now I'm getting a little bit more triggering of the pain. So I'm gonna work with this for a second. So if you're using a ball, my favorite technique is just to find a painful spot, put the pressure through the foot, and then work with the toes to grip and open the toes. And you'll usually find that one way or the other is more painful. Right now, when I grip the toes, I get some little pain activation in the foot. Okay, I'm not a fan of rolling like this. If you roll out the foot like this, it just kind of feels good, but you're not going to get much change. You need this to spend dedicated time in one area. So I'm on my painful spot, and I'm probably just going to spend a minute or two just very carefully opening and closing the fingers. Okay? We don't need to waste time, so I can get a little bit of work in on my wrist at the same time. That's doing quite a bit better since yesterday. I did have some very pointed dagger-like pain here when I was touching. So I actually, behind the scenes, used a little electrical stimulation, maybe 5 minutes here, and then slept on it, and it's about 75% better. So I'll probably use some more electricity on the wrist later and call it a day for that one. But I've also gotten in probably 3 to 4 hours of wrist circles since our last broadcast. So when Shmuel says, do this exercise for 2 hours, he really means it, because the wrist is recovering pretty nicely. I tried to do the same with my foot last night, but by the evening, it was very, very inflamed. It was really burning quite a bit, aching quite a bit, and was starting to affect the nerves. My sciatic nerve, I felt a little bit something funny and traveling up my leg, which is unusual. So hopefully the story is small and just in the foot, but we'll see as it unfolds. Okay, so I'm getting less sensitive where I started, and now when I roll forwards, I actually get a little bit more sensitivity towards the middle of the foot. So I'm just gonna work on that spot. Another minute or two, letting the neck go. I'm putting more weight to the foot if I want. Okay, let's see what we got now. So I'm going to test out my foot standing. Okay, rolling side to side, it feels pretty good. No pain here. Okay, when I press the toes into the ground, no pain. But here I get pain. When I lift the heel and put weight through the foot, this gives me pain. Flexing the foot feels a little bit better, but it's still pretty bad towards the end of the range of motion. This part feels okay, but when I shift forward enough that the heel unweights a little bit, I get the same kind of pain in here. So this is leaning more towards a problem with the plantar fascia. So I'm going to try to work on the outside of the foot now, see if we can get something that way. So I'll just pop my foot up on the chair. You can do this on the bed or wherever. It doesn't really matter so much. But again, I want to get to my foot here. Right, and I'm just going to look for this golf ball-like muscle. Okay, when you flex the foot up, you should be able to find, I don't know if this light is working so well here. Okay. So as we lift the foot up, we're trying to find the ankle bones here, right? And as I travel forward from the lateral ankle bone, when you flex the foot up and look at it, you should see something a little bit more like a golf ball. Oh, now we're getting somewhere with the angles. Okay, yeah, right in this area. Okay, so my lateral bone, my leg bone ends right here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to work just underneath that and just try to dig out this ravine around the bone. And in here, oh God, that is painful. Okay, so this is another really, really sensitive spot for me. And I think what's going on is I have a really high arch on the right side, so I think these bones were kind of running into each other and pinching the soft tissue here. So I'm going to go in between the bone and the ankle bone and the foot here, and I'm just going to try to clear out that whole section. And I would probably use a position more like this so that I'm not stretching so much. Oh, this is also a really important site for ligaments on the ankle. If you've had an ankle sprain, you know this is 3 major ligaments coming off of this bone here. And this anterior ligament is the most common one to go with sprains. And this is also in line with how my injury occurred. I was walking on slanted ground and my foot was rolling out to the side quite a bit this way, and I had to put weight on it. So when I stretch the foot this way, yeah, I feel this pain coming here. So there's definitely some ligament involvement here. So I'm just going to really dig in and try to do some heavy cross friction on whatever I can find that's painful here. Oh, Lord, that is so bad. And, you know, I'm usually pretty ruthless when I work on myself, so this is really painful, I have to admit. But I know it's going to do well for me in the future if I can suck it up now and just really get into this stuff. Oh. Okay, and you can use these techniques anywhere around this lateral malleolus, because coming up behind here where we were working yesterday, it's a lot less sensitive for me, but there's still something going on with the Achilles tendon. But if you've got the puffy pouches here, and you know, you look down, it looks like there's little pillows there, you definitely want to be working into this area because that's going to help stimulate the lymph flow and try to clear out that inflammation. If you are dealing with a lot of ankle swelling and puffiness, I would recommend just a little bit of this work and more of the lymphatics video that we did earlier, or some of the general exercise for circulation. You know, this is really a tutorial on acute ankle pain, about how to diagnose and hunt for your problems. Right? We started the class, I was just doing movements, trying to figure out what part of the movement was painful, if there was a painful movement. For example, like when I lift my foot, I don't feel pain. So that means that the inside tendon here is probably fine. Right? When I swing the foot out to the outside, I also don't really feel pain. So but I feel a lot of pain when I put weight on the foot, especially on the front of the foot, and let the heel come up. So to me, that means that we're looking at a more passive structure, right? The active movement of flexing the foot does not cause me pain. So that means it's probably not a muscle or tendon that's going on. It's most likely connective tissue, which is good and bad. It usually means the treatment is more painful, but the recovery is more likely because the connective tissue can collect inflammation and be it's very painful to work on ligaments because they're right on bony prominences. So you need to basically feel like you're rubbing the bone and it's super painful, but there's actually a ligament there. Right, now I'm really trying to get inside of the ankle joint. Oh, good, I'm starting to see more contour. You can see the redness coming here. It's not great light, but I'm starting to see a little less swelling in my own ankle, and the veins are starting to fill up, which is really great. That means I'm really, here you can sort of see one of my veins starting to bulge. This means the circulation is really coming into this area. Oh, and this is getting worse. The deeper I go, it's getting more painful. So I think I'm finally getting to the good stuff here. Just relentless here. Okay, so I also, since I'm trying to get underneath this bone a little bit more, as I flex the foot around, it kind of pulls the foot bones away from the ankle, right? When I'm this way, it's very close. It's hard to get in. So as I move the foot away, this opens up a lot more space and also stretches the connective tissue. So that way, when I massage across it, it's very thin and flat, and I can get all the surface area. Okay, that's pretty painful, so I'm going to give that a second break and try to reevaluate how the foot's doing. Might be time to get some circulation in there. Ooh, oh, even worse. Okay, so immediately when I stand on the foot now, I just feel pain, just immediate aching. Okay, now as I flex, this is actually feels more comfortable. In and out, no problem. Stepping up onto the heel, no pain. Onto the toe, much less pain. Oh, yeah, less pain. However, standing flat on my foot is actually much worse now, which is interesting. So we got some results with the, oopsie daisy, with the cross friction on the ligament there, but it's still not really helping me get over this standing pain at the moment. So this is just another view of the same stuff. This has become a lot less sensitive than when I started, so that seems to be working well. I'm going to take the 90-90 split position again, and this way I'm going to work into the side of the ankle again. And here I'm just using 2 fingers or a thumb and just doing circles just behind that ankle bone, that lateral ankle bone. And again, the foot needs to be nice and supported, loose, so that it's relaxed. And sometimes I sit all the way, leaning back onto my arms, so it's very comfortable. Okay, then I'm going to use some of the flexing techniques as I ride the tissues down, like squeezing along the ankle, but flexing upwards at the same time. There we go. Oh, yeah, and in here, just above the heel, is still really, really painful. So I'm gonna bite my lip a little bit, and I like to support my finger this way so that it's not alone. And I'm just gonna try to close my eyes and take care of this real quick. Oh, it's so burny and achy. Oh. Okay, that was deep even for my standards. It was really, really painful. So I'm going to give that a rest. I'm going to reevaluate the foot again. Okay, standing. Okay, less pain standing. This is good. Side to side, not so bad. Going up through this movement feels fantastic now. No pain like this. Now let's try the big one. Flexing here, I'm still getting the strength. Okay, but it's starting to change. Now the pain is riding very specifically up this tendon to the smaller toes. I feel like a line coming up like this. Okay, so I'm gonna try to investigate the joints of the little toes. Okay, you can crack the toes a little bit like that by pulling them down and pushing up underneath the joint. But I'm gonna look at the pad of my foot here and look for, because this is actually where the toe joint is, right? if you find it on the top, it's a little bit easier to find the knuckle of the foot, when you flex the toe up and down. But underneath the foot is actually farther back than you would think. It's not up here. It's back here. Okay, so I'm going to look in this area, and yeah, that is like white lightning pain here. Okay, so I'm just going pretty ruthlessly into the foot here. Okay, I'm already getting pretty tired of squeezing, so I'm going to immediately switch to an easier tactic, beating my body into submission, one of my favorite things. Boom, 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 boom. Now, this technique isn't actually that painful, it just kind of stimulates with vibration and brings circulation in. But I do use a pretty compact fist, especially on the foot. And I hold from the other side, so the foot's not flopping around, and the force really, boom, goes into the foot. And hitting the heel. With no support, letting the heel move. Bad heel, bad heel. This movement always feels nice, to twist the foot in opposition. So one hand's going on the heel, and the other hand takes just the forefoot, and you move in opposition. Okay? So kind of crossing the foot. Just riding down the arch with a lot of pressure from I don't use the tip of the thumb because this is very stressful for the joint, and it also rolls the skin back from the nail, which is uncomfortable. So I use more like the second joint of the thumb, and this way, and again, I don't try to push with the thumb. I turn the hand over, right, to make the power. The hand just keeps the shape. Right, opposite directions. Well, luckily I need to stretch out the right side of my back also. So I'm just gonna start to get the wiggles going. Doing the same footwork here. Squeezing, twisting, rubbing. Okay. Stretching the toes now. I'm just flexing the toes up, getting a good grip, pulling through that. I can start to use the chair to help me stretch the ankle now. So, ooh, that is painful here. Okay, so I'm not getting a lot of sensitivity with the manual work, only with this stretching under body weight. So I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here and then try to stretch deeply into this and see if the pain gets better or worse. Okay, so far it seems to be getting a little bit better, and I'm getting quite a big stretch in the back of the ankle. So maybe the foot is ready to open up and it's ready for some aggressive stretching. But like I said yesterday, at first, when you have an acute injury, you need to first locate the injury and really work on it deeply before you try to stretch and create new movement again. Okay? But at this point, I have only a few sore spots left. And I know that if I can, as long as this doesn't make the bottom of my foot worse, any flexibility in the ankle joint is going to help your foot quite a bit. And that's really important to understand, that the ankle joint is all the way up here, right? And that we don't want to borrow from the foot to flex forwards, right? We want the movement to come from up here. We don't want any kind of rolling in or flattening. See how the arch can splay and the arch flattens? This means the movement's coming from the midfoot. This puts a lot of stress on the plantar fascia. We want the stable foot and the movement to come from the ankle. So anytime you have foot problems, you want to try to make the ankle as flexible as possible. I really like this position for stretching because you can easily get into like a modified squat position. And when you get the knee against the torso and you can hold the chair, it's very easy to get a good amount of force into the ankle, which is honestly very hard to do, even when you're standing completely on a step. That's probably the best you can do. But here you can actually pull yourself into your thigh, and it really translates well into the ankle. And this is starting to open up, but it's really quite stubborn. I did a number on myself. Okay, I'm starting to feel some different type of pain coming into the inside of the ankle, so I'm just going to let this rest for now. Okay, let's take one last look, see how we did. All right, standing wise, this is significantly better after that last bit there. This doesn't cause me pain to stand. Flexing in and out feels more mobile and good. Coming up, much less pain, a little bit stiffness from that last stretch, but pretty good. And now let's try the big one, weighting onto the foot. So much better. Not gone, but better. Right? Yeah. Okay, so looks like that final ankle stretch is what was going to be most important for me. So we looked around, hunted for some stuff to work on for fingers. I definitely found some sensitive spots that helped bring the circulation and loosen up. We stretched the ankle to try to get the mobility, and that worked pretty well. If my foot starts to burn or feel painful tonight, I'm probably going to put it in some cold water for a few minutes and see how that goes. Okay, so hopefully my wrists and ankles will be all better by tomorrow, and then we can get back to our general programming. If you guys have requests about anything you want me to cover in the next week or two, send me an email. I'd love to start doing more specific targeted classes for our patients' concerns. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.